All right, what's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave, and we are back. I'm just gonna make a quick video on this Crawford snack Victor Conte situation. Um, it just needs to be short. It's not really much to say. Uh, Victor Conte is the owner of Snack. And these are some legal supplements that plenty of fighters are enrolled with. You know, Caleb Plant, David Haney, Clarissa Shields, even people from the past like Mikey Garcia. Like there's a lot of people that's been enrolled with this. Victor, has a disturbing history of performance enhancing drugs, and the whole Balco thing. This is stuff that I did make content on years ago, but it's resurfaced because the fight is nearly 1 month away with Canelo, and people are getting nervous. That's what it really is all about. It's one or two things. People are nervous, all right, and people are just bored and they just need some content. It's that simple. That's all it is. Um, People need content. People need something to talk about. It was a slow couple weeks in boxing. You got everybody talking about Andre Ward and coming back and fight Anthony Joshua. It's a slow couple weeks. That's it. It's really nothing else to explain, and people are gonna eat it up because it's more content. It's that simple. It's literally what everybody has been talking about for the past few weeks. It's no different from Glovegate when it was 2020 and we were barely getting any fights. It was slow. Some guys that weren't even boxing content creators started making content on Tyson Fury and his gloves. That is what this is. It's the same thing. But you got people that are like that, but you also got people that just want they're nervous and they're already building up an excuse if Terrence Crawford happened to win the fight. Because let's be all honest, man. Let's keep it 100% real. When people started talking about this fight, no one really took it that serious. You know, Crawford didn't even take it that serious. You know, but it started after the Spence win. And then he started getting asked in interviews where he was just like, come on, like there's weight classes for a reason. This is what he said, this is what I said, this is what a lot of people said. People thought it was ridiculous in the beginning when it started saying Crawford should go jump up 2 divisions. This is before the Madrimov fight. Jumping up 2 divisions or 3 at that time to fight Canelo Alvarez, all right? Thought it was out of control. And then he had his fight as 54 and the conversations got deeper, and Crawford started talking about the fight and his interest in taking a fight. And then the content creators like myself started having these conversations about the fight. And now that we're getting closer, it doesn't seem that crazy because when we see them together, when we see Crawford and how he's filling in into the size, well, basically, he probably walks around above the weight, but he's actually getting acclimated to the division and working on keeping that speed, that movement that he has while being a 168 pounder. You know what I mean? Instead of the cut that he normally would do for 47 or 54, he's just adjusting to the bigger weight and probably working on having the same kind of movement at the bigger weight. So when we see these videos of him prepping and we're hearing these things about him having the best training camp and we looking at the betting odds and it's like they're near like even. Now people are getting worried. So what do? Well, shit, this dude might actually win. Crawford Canelo didn't look great in his last fight against Skull. So people are like saying, oh, maybe Canelo's not in his prime anymore. He's falling off a little bit. You know, people are scared. That's all it is. People are scared, but some people are still bitter over the Spence win. You had people that made a lot of content just very, very pro Errol Spence at the time. They were making videos over there talking about Spence, how Crawford only deserves this amount of money. He doesn't deserve to fight. All of this stuff. He's not fighting any money. He's over there in the top rank. I remember when people were saying that Crawford re-signed with Top Rank just to duck the PBC fighters. This is what they were doing 4 years ago. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 years ago. This is what the kind of content they was making. So after Crawford beat him a couple years back, I mean, some of these guys are still mad. And that's all it is. That's all it is. It's really not that deep. It's they're still upset, and they are going harder on Crawford than, you know, than the Canelo fans right now. You know, I'm not shocked at the Canelo fans. I'm not shocked at hardcore supporters of a certain people or a certain fighter, because that's what it's all about, really, right? It's normally about race and shit. Let's be real. Like I told you guys in the live not too long ago. I was like, the biggest rivalry right now in boxing is the black and the Mexican fighter. It's bigger than Mexico and Puerto Rico. Now that's an old thing. The new thing is the black and Mexican fighter. You guys actually hate each other. I see it on the internet every day. Let's be real. We don't have to lie about it. It's out and open. You had Ryan Garcia. You had all these Mexican fighters that's been cheating and popping dirty on drug tests. You guys don't care. But you guys are going to pin this on Terrence Crawford, even though he hasn't failed the drug test. And that's a part of the game. I actually wouldn't expect anything less. I learned a really long time ago that fans, when it comes to boxing fans and the media, it really depends on who it is. Okay, the standards are always shifted for depending on who the fighter is. And that is the same in this situation. But in this situation, Terrence Crawford is probably one of the most unappreciated fighters of this generation, if not the number one, because he is hated by people that look like him and people that don't look like him. He's the only one. All right? Because the only people that try to tarnish his career worse than anybody else are the black fans. Other black fans. They try to destroy him. They try to destroy him. When he was with Top Rank, they try to destroy him. And this guy was doing great things, becoming undisputed in multiple divisions, coming champion, lineal champion in multiple divisions. And it's messed up. Ooh, excuse me. I said this video won't be long, but it's very obvious and it's unfortunate, but we just got to move on. And at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters it's not really how I'm sorry. I need to blow my nose, but at the end of the day, the main thing that matters out of all of this is the fight itself. And I can't wait to start really, now that we're getting closer. It's almost time for me to start making, a lot of content on this fight, really breaking it down from both ends. And I'm going to do it as fair like I normally do. I'm not going to have any biases when it comes to that. But this whole thing with Snack and these people that want to make it seem as Crawford is juiced and he's on any illegal substance, it's just a way, an angle to throw you off. They are afraid. They are bitter. They don't want him to be great. They want to, if he is to win, they want to discredit his win by saying that he's possibly taking in PEDs, or they want to say that he's beating an older Canelo, which is ridiculous too. Canelo has been in the game for 20 years now, so in that sense, yes, he has a lot of miles. But Crawford's been in the game for 17 years. He went pro 17 years ago. You know what I mean? And he's older than Canelo. He's a few years older than Canelo. You gotta understand that where people are talking about age. Crawford is going to be 38 or something by the time this fight goes on. Or I think he's 38 now, or 37. He's approaching 38. I don't know. But all I know is that Crawford isn't young. And we are missing the biggest factor here, which is a huge advantage for Canelo, is that Crawford is the one that's moving up. two divisions. All right. He's only had one to fight in 154, and he's moving up to 168, where he was recently at 147. His biggest win was at 147. All right. If anybody has an advantage here, I would think it's Canelo. So I know people like to talk about 20 years and this guy is past it. People are just afraid. You know, we have a good fight coming up. Um, and I'm excited to see it. I think they're promoting it well. I think this is part of the promotion because it's an ongoing thing. You got, you know, all the people that's involved, they're reacting to it. But let's not take it too seriously. And this is like the only one in video that I'm going to talk about it. And before actually talking about the fight, there's not enough fights, breakdowns, you know. There's more about like, let's connect something dramatic to this whole thing. And a lot of these people are inconsistent because when it comes to the people that's actually popping dirty, no one's focused on them. And that's not an attack on the Mexican fan base or the Eddie Reynoso team that keeps popping dirty. All I want is that when somebody pops, like a Gerald Miller, for example, and everybody stops what they're doing to destroy him, this be fair and this be across the board with everybody else. That's all I'm asking. Because we never let anybody slide over here for drug testing. But when it came to Povetkin years ago, when he popped hot against Wilder, that's when everybody talked about the A, the B sample, you know, the amount of traces. That's when everybody wants to be overly technical. Same thing with Ryan Garcia. People like to pick and choose to be overly technical depending on who fails. Canelo failed. Oh, meat, this, that, you know, tainted meat, this, how much traces. Everybody wants to get to the exact amount. But this guy has never failed. And I'm talking about Terrence Crawford. So leave him alone. All right. He's with Snack. It's legal. And all those guys at Snack over there be losing all the time. All those guys that's over there don't even look like they're on anything. They don't perform like they're on anything. You know, they don't. That's not a diss to them, but none of those guys over there are performing well. They lose all the time, you know. But when we go back to the people that pop hot and we look at their performance and compare their performance where they pop dirty to the ones that they didn't pop dirty, it's a hell of a difference. Ryan Garcia, perfect example. You saw Rolly Romero fight. You saw the fight with Crawford. I mean, not Crawford, with Haney. You saw the fight with Terrence. I mean, not Terrence. What's the guy? Tank. You get what I'm saying. So it's really that simple. But anyway, like I said, I didn't want to talk about it any longer. I think I got my point across. I want to move on. I don't want to put too much energy into it. I think one video was enough. And then the next time I'll be talking about these two, we'll be talking more about details on the fight itself, like we should be. All right. Anyway, I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Peace.